Donny, are you there?
Yes, I am, John. Good evening.
How are you doing?
Very good. Interesting weekend in New England. Took in the WWF card at the Boston Garden, and as I was telling you off the air, there had to be 15 to 16,000 there. If there was an empty seat in the building for the Flair and Hogan main event, I didn't see it. There was a little excitement during that match. Several fans, counted 3 of them, charged the ring during the match. Hogan shook hands with one of them as the special cops jumped in the ring and bodily removed the people, and a few chairs were thrown in the ring, but things calmed down. And interesting night, as I said, they hadn't seen a sellout, as I was told, there in almost a year.
Wow, so a big crowd in Boston for that big match between Hogan and Flair. And, of course, Ric Flair, the new heavyweight champion of the WWF.
All righty, John, and we'll take that right to the capsule. As we've been talking about earlier, the Royal Rumble does headline the capsule and all of wrestling today. Ric Flair, by virtue of being the sole survivor of the 30-man field of competitors in the Royal Rumble held earlier today, is now the World Wrestling Federation heavyweight champion, with Flair being the second entrant into the free-for-all match that saw a new participant added every 2 minutes. He served more than an hour's worth of ring time. Although, along with Flair, it was Hulk Hogan and Sid Justice. They were the final 3 wrestlers on the canvas. Sid dumped the Hulk from behind over the top rope, with his momentum taking himself over as well. Both were eliminated, leaving Flair in the ring alone. Sticking with news from the Rumble, Roddy Piper slapped a sleeper hold on a Mountie to capture the Intercontinental belt. This past Friday evening, less than 48 hours after stripping the title from Bret Hart in Springfield, Massachusetts, the Mountie now holds the distinction in having the shortest Intercontinental title reign. The Legion of Doom defended their WWF tag title in Albany, New York's Knickerbocker Arena as well. Although they were counted out during their match with the Natural Disasters, the belts didn't change hands. This Tuesday evening, January 21st, World Championship Wrestling presents a Clash of Champions on Superstation WTBS from Topeka, Kansas. And some sad news rounds out the capsule this evening: the death of a promotion. Joe Goodhart's Tri-State Wrestling Alliance, based in Philadelphia, is no more. Sadly enough, this coming Saturday, it was going to be Nature Boy Buddy Rogers coming out of retirement to challenge TWA champion Buddy Landell. Capsule time, 10:09.
Well, thank you very much, Don, for that report. Of course, the news that we got yesterday about Joel Goodhart and the Tri-State Wrestling Alliance was certainly sad news. Joel made the announcement yesterday at 8. Okay, but Buddy, I just being informed here that Buddy Rogers is on the line, and we'll be talking to him in just a second here. But we got the word yesterday at 8:05 a.m., 5 minutes after Joel went on the air, that he was closing up shop, not only with the wrestling school, but also with the TWA and all the other ventures, including his radio show on WIP in Philadelphia that's been on the air for quite a while. Joel's been on the air for 6 years. And a lot of people feel that he took on too much. He was trying to do too much. But I know some of the shows that we attended and some of the bus trips that we went to, promoted by the TWA, certainly very, very exciting cards. We will miss Joel Goodhart, but there's been some controversy as of late, Don, that we're going to be bringing up with Buddy Rogers regarding the promotion and this last card that was supposed to have taken place next week, January 25th. We'll get online with Buddy in just a second. But, Donnie, we appreciate your time. You'll be here live in the studio next Sunday, so we're looking forward to that.
Look forward to it, John, and I'll be bringing along some trivia questions. I know Michael Monsky is scheduled to be there as well.
Yes.
And I'm sure we'll be trying to stump a few listeners.
Okay. Thank you very much, Don. We'll talk to you next week live right here at the studio.
Thank you, John.
That is a lot of big news in one news capsule. I mean, I was floored. I sat back and once I cut the clip, I was like, that's a lot of stuff for 2.5 minutes. You know, the importance of all that news was amazing. I mean, what a week it was.
Yeah, a lot to cover, Donnie. Yes.
As I told John yesterday, when I was listening to that, it reminded me, anybody that ever went to wrestling at the Boston Garden or later on the newer Garden, it was unique in that they had hockey glass, the plexiglass, all around the arena, the ring, so people couldn't get in. And then on top of that, on top of the ring, they had a net suspended, like you would see a trapeze act use. Because years ago, People would throw things in the ring. They would rush the ring. Blackjack Mulligan got stabbed in the leg there one day. And so it was, I remember the first show I went to there, it was Bruno and Arion in a cage match. And the hockey glass was all around the ring. It was like something like out of Escape from New York. And so that brought back that memory. And, talking about Joel Goodhart, I did a story for Wrestling Confidential magazine on a day in the life of Joel Goodhart. And I was blown away. I liked him a lot because my dear friend who's no longer with us, Larry Winters, was involved with him. Larry taught at his school. And Joel really laid the work down for what would be ECW, first Eastern Championship Wrestling and ECW. And some of those guys like Sandman and JT and several other people moved over to when ECW came about. But Joel had great shows at the Philadelphia, was it called the Civic Center, I believe? And in fact, I believe I met you there, Bob, the first time in the dressing room there. But he had great shows. He would bring people in from all over. He would have it was really such a precursor to ECW and what Dennis Carluzzo put on. So he really was ahead of the ball game. But I liked him as a person. I thought he was an honest person. And he really had his following in Philadelphia.
Well, I'll tell you what didn't hurt. I think that the Philly Civic Center was looked upon by some as a phased out arena because I think they were either building or had built another hockey arena. But I thought it was a great wrestling arena. What do you think, guys?
Oh, I have to agree. I mean, it was the right size in a lot of ways, and everyone was close to the action, and the crowds were always hot. So it had that gritty feel to it of a really cool place to watch a show.
Didn't the NWA, when they first started coming east in the 80s, didn't they used to run in that building as well when they came to Philly?
I believe so. Don. I think they may have been there longer than we might have remembered because I think I covered a show there. They had the main evented by a Cactus Abdullah steel cage main event, and I think it was that same arena, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. So it shows you, that it was a perfect building for wrestling, or at least I thought so. I really did.
Yeah, and it was a perfect news capsule too. I mean, there was so much going on. The one thing that I was thinking of as we're listening to all this and listening to your news capsule, and of course the opening, the Rumble was that. What was the date of the Rumble? I mean, I wish I knew here. Was it that day? Was it that night?
It was that day. You guys talked on the show about having watched the card, and then you went on the air right afterwards.
Wow,
it was that.
Was it an early show though? But it was like when did
I don't recall.
Like a 4 o'clock start or something.
I don't remember, and I was there. Maybe it was an afternoon event. Yeah, because remember how they used to run pay-per-views.
They used to do it at 4 o'clock. Didn't they do it like not at 8 o'clock now?
No, I think they did it in the early evening as opposed to the late evening.
Yeah,
you're right.
For the kids, probably for the
right.
kids.
Yeah. But I will say this. That was a great Rumble. And Ric Flair was spectacular in it. He really was. When he was in the ring, all eyes were on him every moment he was in there. He was in there for practically the whole doggone thing.
Did he come in like number 4? Or
yeah, really early.
Yeah.
Really early. And
I think he was there for like 60 minutes.
Yeah, 60-minute man.
60-minute man, as he always used to brag about. That's right. and I will say this. Here's why I think that Rumble was important. Number one, he won the title, which was, of course, a big whoop. I mean, that's about as good as it gets.
Yeah.
But I also am of the opinion, and I could be wrong, that Ric Flair winning the WWF Championship was the beginning of the end of the cartoon character era in that federation. Because everything got more serious the minute he showed up. And the title meant more. And the standards of professionalism went more. So, when you hear about Roddy Piper beating the Mountie, no more Mounties, no more garbage men, no more blah, 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 blah. I think that Flair brought wrestling back to the WWF. That's just my opinion.
Well, it could have been the start for that.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit more credibility and more respect. And Ric Flair had a presence. He was a professional, aside from his outside the ring antics. But when it was time to lace the boots up and put those trunks on and go out there to entertain, he was the consummate professional in that ring.
Well, that's where Jim Herd made a cardinal mistake, because from the minute that Ric Flair entered the WWF, it energized them like crazy. I mean, don't get me wrong, WCW made a nice little comeback too, but there was something about, the new flavor of the WWF with Ric Flair and Bobby Heenan at his best. Tremendous. It was really great.
Yeah, very, very cool stuff. And